SSP TV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker present Good Sports with Dave and Ken.
Welcome to the Good Sports podcast and web series. I'm Ken Kara, SSP TV Sports Director with Dave Seaman, Standard Speaker Sports Editor. And Dave, we're here at Harmon Geist Memorial Field. New lights being put in. You might hear some construction throughout the podcast. That's why they're working on new lights. Just got new turf not too long ago, Dave. Head coach Dennis Bookman was talking about new play clocks, new scoreboard not that long ago. There's a lot of excitement around the stadium. There's a lot of excitement around this program. Winning the Wyoming Valley Conference Championship last year. First time in a while that a Cougar team has won a championship since head coach Dennis Bookman has taken over the program, Dave, and he knows a lot about his history, and you'll hear him as when we talk to him in the interview talk about first time since this, first shutout since then. They're checking off a lot of boxes, and they have a lot of expectations with a lot of talent coming back this year.
Yeah, you talk about a lot of new things around here at the stadium, but the thing we didn't talk about are the old things, like and namely the players. A lot of the players have the experience. They went through an 8-win season last year. Like I said, they had that taste of success, but they also have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because they lost 2 games to start the season, another loss to Delaware Valley in the middle of the season, and then the loss to Delaware Valley at the end of the season, to end their season in the district championship game. So there's a lot of motivation for this team, and a lot of important pieces are back. And as we talk to some of these players too, the excitement level is through the roof. They know what it's like. They know what it's like to win, and they know what it's like to lose. And I think they like the winning feel a little bit more.
Dave, I mean, and listen, there have been some really good Hazleton area football teams, even recently, and Coach Dennis Bookman talked about some of the past players who have built the foundation for this group that's here today, but it's a buzz I haven't felt in a while for Hazleton area football season in a little bit.
No, there's a lot of excitement, and rightfully so, too. When you have all-state caliber players at the skill positions, you have a quarterback who was the Wyoming Valley Conference most valuable player last year in Tyler Wolfe. You have a lot of experienced linemen now after they went through a rough stretch to start the season last year, but now they're experienced. They gained a level of confidence. On the defensive side, you saw how much improvement they made on the defensive side, especially at the linebacker position. They're going to be really, really fun to watch this year. We talk about the lineman improvement, so that'll free up a lot of these linebackers to make plays. And in the secondary, those guys that are all-state receivers are also the back line of defense too. So look for a lot of interceptions this year, a lot of big plays. I think you're going to see a lot of when you look at the score sheet or in the stats this year, you're going to see a lot of 50-plus yard plays because this team is very capable of doing that.
Yeah, and we talked with many of these great players you mentioned, wide receivers and in the defensive backfield, Matthew Casadas and Connor Shimane. We have Ryan Matias, very talented in the backfield, also playing defense, and Matthew Bookman, talented running back, also on the defensive side of the ball, making some noise. And, of course, Tyler Wolfe, the quarterback. And, Dave, the interesting thing is we had a group of players that you're going to hear from. Dennis Bookman, when he took over the program, he seemed to have a vision, Dave, for what he wanted on the field, but also what he wanted to do off the field in the community. And they've created this leadership council within the Hazleton Area High School football program. We'll talk about that, and all of the members of the team you're going to hear from are a member of that leadership council. So let's get into talking to some of the players, and then you'll hear from head coach Dennis Bookman as well, and then we'll wrap things up, me and Dave, back here at Harmon Geist Memorial Field. So let's start with some of those interviews. Matthew Casadas, senior cornerback and also playing wide receiver with us right now, all-state football player. He's also a member of the Leadership Council for the Hazleton Area Cougars. Got a bunch of them staring at us over there. You're the first one up. Tell us about this. You said this is the first year to have like a formal Leadership Council. What does that mean for the program, and is it an honor being a part of it?
It definitely is an honor. We have a lot of kids on our football team, a lot of young guys. We picked that 8 leadership council. We have all guys leading. We're all seniors. We know what to do, the right thing to do. We're leading all these young guys to success to make sure our team does what we have to do.
When last we talked, it was right after track season, getting that silver medal triple jump, right? Mm-hmm. Silver medal triple jump. And it seems so far away. We were talking about senior year coming up, 3-sport athlete like yourself. What does this, I want to go back a little bit. What does the Leadership Council entail? What are your responsibilities on the team with that?
Mostly just being an extension of coach, keeping the team in check, little things too, like cleaning up, making sure the water is out for us, because if we can't get the water, no one will get the water for us. But it's basically just that, keeping everything together. If there's a little problem on the team, we'll address it, but it's mainly just leading each other on the football field. And we're not just leading the younger guys, we're leading each other within the Leadership Council.
Is everyone kind of like you? You seem like a humble guy. Like even though you're an all-state player, you have a state silver medal. You don't mind going to get the water, still being like, hey, someone has to do this.
Nah, yeah, definitely. That's just an everyday thing. There's just some things like I'm gonna have to do myself, or we don't have to do ourselves because no one else will do it. There's little things you can't just be because I'm this good. Then there's little things I shouldn't take care of. I'll let someone else do that. You gotta do everything yourself. Make sure everything gets done.
It's like a Hazleton sports mentality, Dave, though. When you hear about that a lot with athletes, when people are just like, oh, it's that blue-collar mentality, seems to be that pride and that hard-working ability within Hazleton athletes.
And a lot of guys have it this year, too. Matthew mentioned the fact, too, that you came up with a lot of guys, Matthew, and these guys, too. You talk to them as your brothers, too. And talk about being in a bond with such a great group. I guess that's why Coach couldn't really pick captains, per se, because there are a lot of you that came up through the ranks together, and to see it finally come to this senior year, what's that all about?
We actually vote. Each player gets a little card, and you write down. Originally, we wrote down four captains, and there was just the votes were so even throughout these 8 guys that coach just said, you know what, we'll make this leadership council because these guys are all fit to be a captain, so we'll call it a leadership council.
How important is that leadership to this team this year? Obviously, the talent's there. Let me read your stats for the people at home so they know them, at least on offense. There was 39 receptions last year, 564 yards, 5 touchdowns. Obviously, you're very, very good in the secondary as well. There's so much talent on this team. How important is that leadership and maybe that extra factor going to be into this team's success this year?
Leadership is very important. That's a really big part. That you can have all the talent in the world, all the best players, but if there's no leadership, sometimes when there's tough situations, if there's adversity in a game, if there's no leader, then you won't get past it. You can make all the plays. If one bad thing goes wrong, everyone just puts their head down. You need that leader to get you out of it, get you out of those tough situations.
Like watching your team from afar for the past 2 seasons, especially, the unselfishness too. I mean, you're matched with another one of the top receivers of the state in Connor Shimane. You have Matt Bookman in the backfield, Tyler Wolfe. How important is it to be unselfish, to give up catches? I mean, at another program, you might have 60, 70 catches in a season, but to able to share the wealth, so to speak.
With all these great players, I look at it like, would I rather myself get 70 catches and have all these padded stats, or would I have a winning program? We have all these guys, we all sharing the ball equally, and we came out with success. Now this year, hopefully we win a district championship with that, and I think we could. With all the pieces we have, we put them together. It's not just one main guy. We have all of us equally putting in that work to come out with something big.
How have you changed since when you first started playing football? I mean, how different are you from that kid who first started playing this sport?
I think I changed in the fact, like, I used to always rely on athleticism and just running circles around people, but once you get to a higher level, you realize you can't do that. So working on my game, my fundamentals, things like that, like the technique part, I feel like that's what changed mostly about me in football.
Dave, anything else for Matthew before we let him get out of here?
I asked him before we went on camera about his foot injury that sidelined him for most of the basketball season and then into the track season. He says he's 100%. You want to tell us how that foot's feeling for you?
It definitely feels good. I went through that little stage, little rough patch, 2 months with a cast on, got off. I was in physical rehabilitation for about, I'd say, 2-3 weeks, and I got right to track. Now I'm right at football. I'm having no pains, no anything. I'm just prayer and healing, eating the right things. That all helped me with healing my leg.
My last thing I want to ask you, Matthew, the Leadership Council, I saw a lot of volunteering for this team. I mean, were you involved in that as well? I saw people at flag football. I saw helping out the Independence Day thing. Has that been a fun part of it? What have you enjoyed the most, maybe doing some of that?
No, I liked it. It definitely looks a good look for it, because obviously there's a stereotype of a football player just being like not a nice person, but we're out in the community. We're doing things, helping children. We were at community park helping clean up. We did a little with Nate Eaches. We did like a little football thing for the kids, and it looks good. It looks good. It makes us our program. It draws attention, knowing that we're not just people who play football. We're in the community helping, raising money. It all looks good. Any
little Matthew Casadas running around out there? I mean, these kids pretty good, or
there's a couple little kids that they definitely have that you could just tell the way they're running. You think they could play football. There's a couple of them.
So a lot still coming up with the Cougars, Matthew. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it, and good luck this season. Another senior, another member of the Cougars Leadership Council is with us now, Samuel Poro, playing on the offensive, defensive lines, right guard, and defensive end. Look at all these notes I have on all the skill guys here for the Cougars this season. So happy you're with us. Let's talk about the lines a little bit. I mean, obviously, that's where it starts. That's what every coach always says. Nothing really gets done for all this talent without you guys. So how's it looking? I mean, on the offensive line, how you guys looking?
I think we're looking pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, we're
we're like learning. Like we had that last year to learn and like go through the struggles, the growing pains. But I feel like now we're gonna be like a really good physical group up front.
What did you learn? When did you start playing, and what did you kind of learn last year and throughout your career?
So last year I started in. I was a junior. I wasn't even like starting. I was like backup. I was like in the mix.
Yeah.
So HAHS came. I think I like had a bad week that week, and like that like lowered me down, like in the positionings. So on doubles I turned it up a little bit. I got like back where I was, and then I didn't start until like week 2. I think I had a pretty good scrimmage last year, so like that like got the coaches to notice me, at least on the offensive side. And then week 2 I started, and it was just up from there.
Nice. What changed from when you said you had a rough, during HAHS acclimation? What kind of changed in you? Was there a change, or how did you progress?
Oh yeah, there was most definitely a change. I feel like I was still learning football because like I started as a freshman. That was like my first time ever playing football.
Okay.
So I was still trying to learn it, and, like figure it out. And I feel like I like knew some, but like I didn't know like everything. So I like that last year, like I learned football. Like, you feel me?
Yeah. What would you tell your freshman self? I mean, if you could go back and give him some advice, what would you say?
Go to practice every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be like, I would be one of those guys like in and out, like 2 days a week, 3 days. Yeah, I would tell him to go back every day.
How proud are you of the way you were able to work like that? Like maybe not being in a starting role to working to a starting role to being on the leadership council this year. Is this something you can really pride yourself on? I'd be very proud if I were you.
Yeah, I was very proud of myself. Yeah, I was very proud. I was like I felt like I earned something.
Yeah.
And it made me feel good.
So maybe a lesson for the younger guys too, who are looking up to you, thinking, "Hey, I could do this as well." He fought his way to be a starter in a year. Dave, how about anything from you?
Yeah, I look at this team, and like everybody knows about all these skill guys and these talented guys around you too. Is it kind of okay to like be like the unknown quantity on this team, and to not that you have to prove yourself because you played very well last year as a line, as a group, but to go in there like kind of like a little chip on your shoulder?
I mean, it's fine, linemen's always, we got to do the dirty work. We never get our name in the paper, and it's fine like that. We'll just keep doing our work. We keep working hard, and then if you keep working hard, it'll come out one day. So.
How did you build up your strength in that? Was that another part of your game you had to work on to maybe get that starting role? Was it building up in the weight room, or did you always kind of have that?
I'm gonna say like 50-50 because like I was strong, but I wasn't like as strong as I was now. Yeah. I feel like it was more like movement, like more athletic ability, like be able to move around. Like I was like stiff a little bit, like loosen up, like be able to move.
Dave, anything else from you?
Yeah, when you play offense, we talked about offense, but how about defense too? Talk about playing defense too, and just going all out after the quarterback, and then that's got to be a fun feeling.
Yeah, it's like sacks are one thing, but it's not all just about sacks. It's about playing the right gap, containing, and like doing everything right. Not going too far upfield, that 1 yard pressure, the 1 yard, and like getting tackles for loss. It's not all just pass. I mean, it's fun to like pass rush and all that and get the sacks, but
it takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, a lot of discipline. Watch the ball because they try to make you jump off sides and everything.
Yeah, I didn't notice too, Dave, the importance of sometimes playing that defensive line, opening up and making room for the backers behind you or maybe another player was something I never really thought of.
Yeah, that's like a big thing, like especially for like the D tackles. They got to like take on double teams and like so the backers can make the play. They get the tackle, but without the D tackle taking that double team, the backer goes in free.
I feel like I know a lot about Matthew Casadas off the field. You could go to YouTube, check out some of the stories we've done in the past. I'm sure in the Standard Speaker. Samuel, how about you? Away from football, what else are you doing? Do you have any other interests or?
I'm a look into playing another sport after the season. Do something to keep me active.
Nice.
Because I've been just focused on football the last 3-4 years. So yeah, I'm gonna plan on doing something, probably track or something, maybe.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
Get into that. Do you have any plans? I mean, college, something else post senior year?
I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do. Like if I get anything for football, I might go over there. If not, I'm probably gonna architecture or business for college. Yeah.
Samuel, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure getting to meet all you guys today and talk with you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Good luck.
Appreciate it. Good luck. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yet another member of the Leadership Council for the Cougars, and he's a running back and linebacker and senior Ryan Matias. Thank you so much. I've read your name so much in the newspaper, sir. Like a lot of these Cougar football players, a lot of great stats for you, a lot of success. With saying that, How excited, and is there some pressure this senior season to kind of capitalize on that, since there is so much, it seems like, senior leadership and talent coming back?
Yeah, I mean, now there is a lot of pressure to come with it, but we've been working harder than we ever had before. I mean, we have a lot we want to achieve, so with that comes a lot of hard work. I mean, working every day as hard as we can till the whistle blows, every rep. I mean, we've been working for it, so we have a lot coming this year.
How much fun is it playing linebacker? I mean, I just think that would be such a cool position. I'm definitely not aggressive enough, Dave, to ever even step on a defensive side or just the football field in general. But how much fun did you really enjoy it?
Yeah, I love it. You get the best of both worlds. You either run through the gap and get killed by a big lineman, or you run through the gap and tackle the running back 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So you get the best of both worlds playing linebacker.
Your mentality seems like you enjoy both. You're like, even if I go up there and I get smacked, I'm still having fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you gotta love it. You gotta love the bad, the good. I mean, if you don't love it, there's no point in playing it.
We were talking with Samuel Poro about just how hard that defensive line works to kind of open up some spots for you guys. Do you appreciate that? I mean, yeah.
If it wasn't for them, I mean, we wouldn't be able to make plays. They have to fill their gaps, open our gaps up for us, so the secondary, we can make all of our plays. They get pressure on the quarterback, help the quarterback get out of the pocket, help the quarterback make bad throws, so we can all make plays in the secondary.
I'm looking here, over 70 tackles, I think, for you. Almost 80 tackles for you. So you're 79. That was my Hafey math. Almost 80, 79. And 6 tackles for loss. Do you remember one that sticks out? Do you remember a play that sticks out?
Yeah, it would definitely be against Williamsport last year in the rain. I mean, it was a big third down play. I remember I blitzed B-gap, got right through on the counter, and blew the running back up 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Nice. So those things stick out. Winning the conference championship last year, how important was that? To get a title back to Hazleton area and then maybe start building off of that?
I mean, it was a great feeling. I mean, a lot of us were emotional. I mean, a lot of us been playing for 3 years. This is going to be our 4th year now. I mean, we've been working for that for a long time, and we finally got to achieve something like that. Now we have a lot more to achieve this year, and we just got to keep getting better and better each year. And for a lot of us, this is our last year now, so we just got to get it.
Obviously, there's a lot of spotlight on you guys this year. What is successful for this team, though? You guys seem like a family, like you're tight-knit. What's success for you? I mean, obviously, it's the wins and losses, but what really matters to this team?
I mean, what matters to us is just coming here every day and loving to be here. I mean, not everyone will want to come in at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to work out, but you got to love to do it, and we all love doing it. Come get on the field. We just feel like we're at home. None of us complain, even if we're having a long day. We still like to get after it. That's success for us, just to be able to get out there every day, be healthy, have a good practice, get work in, prepare for Friday nights. That's success.
So have you been out here since 6 a.m. today?
So I got here at 6 a.m. to help organize on the field.
All right. So I'm saying this because now this is 2-a-day practices as we're recording this, and we're interrupting, and now you have to do media duty, so we appreciate it. Thank you. If we weren't here right now, what would you be doing?
If you weren't here right now, what I'd be doing? Probably just be heading home for the day, relaxing, getting a shower, taking care of my body, hydrating again, getting ready for tomorrow.
All right, so you take it easy when you go home.
Well, we touched on your success on the defensive side, which is very exemplary, but how about on the offensive side? I thought you were like a sneaky weapon for the team last year, too. How much pride do you get in that? Because you're kind of like a kind of forgotten guy with all of the talent around you. To be able to contribute in that way, can you talk about that?
I mean, it's just nice because without Matt Bookman and Casadas and Shimane making plays, there's not a lot of attention on a fourth person like me. So I get to sneak out the backfield for a catch. Matt Bookman, he's in the backfield with me. They hand the ball off to me. All the attention's on him. If they fake it to him, I could easily get 5, 6, 7 yards of carry just because they take a lot of attention on me.
And I thought one of the big carries last year was the one against Berwick, too, where you kind of like turned that game around with that big carry. Could you take us back to that?
So we put that play in that week because we were watching film, and we knew that Matt was going to take a lot of attention away, so we motioned him out, which it did work. The linebacker pulled with him, and then our line did a great job getting downfield and getting bodies on bodies, and I took it right up the gap for a fullback trap, and it's a very successful play.
How important was that Berwick game? It comes in after 2 losses. It's against a rival. How big was that game?
I mean, without that win, we would have started off 0-3. I mean, we needed a confidence builder. I mean, we had a lot of young linemen, like new players. I mean, a lot of us had experience, but we're just trying to get used to it. A lot of us in new positions, more expectations. So it was just a big confidence boost, and it really turned our season around in the right direction.
Yeah, it's learning how to win, too. You have to, they say, take baby steps before you could move as a program to walk and then to run. Or you feel like you're at that running stage now?
Yeah. I mean, we have to be. I mean, some of us have been playing on varsity for 4 years now. We have to be ready to win. If we're not here if we can't win this year, I mean, what else? What's the point of us being here? So, I mean, we've been working hard. We learned how to win last year, so now this is our year to just keep winning.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much. We appreciate your time today, and we hope you could go rest now. You go home and take it easy. We appreciate it. Now with Matthew Bookman, Sr., member of the Leadership Council, like all of the Cougars we're talking with today, playing running back and safety. You might hear a lot of construction noise as we're here. That's because there's new lights at Harmon Geist Memorial Field. Have you seen them yet, or are these not hooked up yet? They're still working on them.
They are not hooked up yet. We haven't seen them yet, but supposedly they're supposed to be pretty cool. Some different light features going on and everything. So,
oh, no kidding. All right.
I guess when they come in, we'll see some different cool things. So looking forward to it.
Nice. Last year, 33 receptions, 338 yards. That's just receiving in the backfield, over 700 yards and 11 touchdowns. It's not even getting to do with what you did on defense. Talk about last season. Were you happy with how you performed and how the team performed?
I was happy with how me and the team performed, but obviously, wish we could have ended the season on the win at there and moving on to the states, but winning the district championship. But we couldn't, and that allows us to use that to fuel us for this season now, knowing like, hey, to our seniors, like it's our last season. We're coming off a loss last year. We need to step it up. We need to come out and get that district championship back for Hazelton, which I haven't had in over a decade. So I was happy we overcome, obviously, from my freshman year having 2 wins to now being in the district championship, going an 8-win season. It's incredible. But we're definitely this season looking forward to trying to evolve from that and move it past the district championship.
How would you describe this offense? You get to see it every day. For someone who might be out of the area or who might not, get to Harmon Geist this year, I mean, there's weapons everywhere in the backfield, on the line. I mean, the receivers. How would you describe the offense?
In one word, put short, I'd say explosive.
Yeah.
We have playmakers everywhere. We have Tyler able to get the ball to me, Ryan, Matias, Shimane, Connor, Rapid. We all block for each other. Now we have people who are able to break tackles, run someone over, juke, get quick bursts. We're able to move tempo. I just think the one word, our offense is very explosive and dynamic.
How is your blocking? I remember when we used to watch Saquon Barkley, and you, Dave, as a biased Penn State fan, when I was pushing for his Heisman, like anyone was listening to me on SSP TV in Hazelton, but I was like, listen, you should see the kid block too, and he's got this down. How important a part of the game is that for you?
Oh, blocking.
Have you worked on that? I mean,
we always work on with Coach Drumheller. We're always working on blocking. Protecting Tyler obviously in the pass game, because I'll run the ball and I have to be selfless. Understand? I just got a first down. Now it's first down, second down. Now we want to throw the ball. If I don't pick up an oncoming blitzer, that's gonna hit Tyler, cause a forced fumble. Have him ricochet a pass to an incomplete, a pick six. Anything could happen. So blocking. All our running backs know, like, if you don't block, you're not going to see the field. So blocking is a huge part of our offense, between our line, our running backs, even our receivers out there blocking for the running backs on, tosses or anything to the outside. Everybody understands blocking is one of our most important parts on the offense.
Yeah, with the success that you enjoyed last season, the taste of success, comes a lot of extra attention too. And I think it was Joe Paterno that once said, you get that attention, and sometimes it's like poison because you get a little bit big-headed and it kind of affects your game. How are you guys handling that? Because you have got extra attention. You're on some preseason all-star teams as well as some of your teammates. How do you handle that extra exposure?
So we all understand, like, we've got the accolades from last year, or have these expectations for our team and individuals to do good and above and beyond this year. But we all understand, like, I could do really good and my team could do really bad, and is that really going to help anything? No. Only I'm going to look good and they're going to look bad, and that's not what anyone on our team understands. Everybody knows we have to lock in, play good together to win. We're not focused on who's going to get the most rushing yards, who's going to make the game-winning catch. No one really cares. It's all up to, as long as someone makes that game-winning catch and someone makes that important play to big play, doesn't matter who it is, then the accolades to us don't really mean a thing.
Do you guys compete in practice with each other? Like, because there is so much talent, and you're like, all right, well, let me go and go to another level.
Yeah, well, I mean, at practice, we love doing, like, best on best. Like, I'll have Casadas will run a route, and I'll have to cover him, and then I'll run a route against Shimane. We're all trying to put, like, our best kids up against each other to get us to work hard, and then we'll have the younger kids, to build the young kids up, the freshmen, sophomores, the underclassmen. The only way to get better is working against the older, the more experienced kids who've been here for a longer time, know little tricks and knickknacks and everything. So having them run routes against me and trying to better them is going to help the program in the future. But we love competing. There's always energy, a little bit of trash talk here and there. It's friendly here and there, but it builds energy, builds some rivalry. But then we all know we come together for our team segment and everything. We all just lock in and all just bond.
You're obviously a high-level athlete, but when you're going up against somebody like a Matthew Casadas or Connor Shimane, and you got what track star, and you got Connor who also did track this past offseason, how do you prepare for that? Like, how do you? If I'm a slower guy, if you were giving me advice, if I was on your team and they were like, hey, you're covering this guy, what would you say? Just you got to be smart on your first move. How do you do something like that?
I mean, for me, I know Matthew Casadas is faster than me, so that's my hardest matchup. Trying to read him because he's quick and shifty like that. So I try to use my physicality against him because I'm more of a physical player and he's faster than me. So if he gets anywhere near me, try to be more physical to knock him off his route. So try to find your strength and try to find your opponent's weakness. If you're stronger than the guy, try to use that to your advantage. Try to get more close instead of leaving a gap. If you're faster than him, try to play close and have him beat you. And he's going to struggle against that. So try to find whatever your strength is, but it can be hard because there's some players who don't have any weaknesses and don't have strengths, but everybody has at least one that you can find, and as long as you look for it, as long as you just try, you'll be fine.
I'm curious because you have speed and you have the ability to run over somebody too. If you see a safety in the hole, would you rather juke them or try to run them over, or does instinct take over and do whatever?
Most of the time instinct takes over, but watching film, if I had to pick watching film, looking back at it, I'd rather watch myself run somebody over than juke them. To me, it's just more satisfying, just to me. But instinct just takes over. But yeah, looking back, and if I was watching a game like on TV, I love seeing oh, look at that, he ran him over. Hearing the pads pop is exciting.
Matthew, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Good luck this season, man. Appreciate it. Very happy to welcome Connor Shimane to the show right now. Senior wide receiver, defensive back, and long snapper. Dave, I said as a special teams guy, and you know what, I kind of, not joking, special teams is obviously important. Absolutely. I was a soccer guy, but we were talking at the Independence Day celebration, the D'Angelo charity event. You were volunteering there with a number of your teammates, and you commented on that. You said, that was an important part of making you a well-rounded player in all phases of the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, it's the third part of the game. You can't win without that third part.
How hard is that, too? I was playing with my buddy's kid yesterday, and he was having me hike like a Nerf ball to him. I didn't come close to him once. How hard is this job, actually? Is it hard?
I mean, it is hard. I mean, you have to be right on the money for everything to work. I mean, it starts with you. However, I mean, I also hold. So, I mean, that's also a big part of the game, too. I mean, we can't get the kickoff unless it's a good hold, so... I mean, it's very important.
Do you enjoy being out there like that? I mean, or coach couldn't give you a break a little bit, or you want to be doing all of this?
I'd rather be doing it all because, I mean, it's just, the game's on me and, people rely on me more and I'm more involved as well.
Excellent. There's so much talent on this offense. Talk about your game, which you've been working on senior season. I mean, this is it for you, at least in high school. What have you been working on?
I've been working on pad level. That was the number one thing, and my breaks, quicker breaks, especially on comebacks and digs. A 1-2 step, as we call it, instead of stuttering my feet. We've been working on that a lot, and I've gotten better. On the defensive side, I've been working on not getting my eyes in the backfield and keeping my eyes on the hip and our reads, the ear to the eyes and to the hands, and tackling, of course, staying low and driving through.
I understood most of that. When you say pad level, what are you talking about when you talk about working on pad level?
Like out of breaks, when you come down, you don't want to stand straight up. And I think in past years, I had a problem with that. I kind of stood straight up. So this year, I made it a key to stay low and finish my routes the right way.
Okay, so as you're running your route, just continuing being low until you're out there. You talked about building speed. I think you said you did track this year, and you mentioned it. I didn't get to air that, so let's talk about it right now. How much that really helped you, and did that help you in building some speed up?
Absolutely. I mean, just running the 100 and doing what we did at practice. I mean, that elevated my form, and that also elevated my speed on the field, including my 40 time as well.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of celebrations between you and Matthew Casadas, too. I think you're as genuinely happy when he scores a touchdown as he is for you. Talk about how you guys complement one another in your games.
We get each other open. I think, our chemistry together is, it's unmatched. And when he's running a route, he gets me open. When I'm running a route, he gets open. So, we work together and we get the job done.
Are you guys similar or different? I mean, how do you guys look at each other? I think obviously when there's two talented receivers, people will say, hey, how do I compare them? Are you guys alike at all?
We share a lot of alike features, but he is a quicker receiver, and he'll beat you deep and, he'll beat you with speed, and I think where I possess, I'm more of a, run you over type of guy and, go up and get the ball type of guy.
Nobody, I think at the receiver position, now we're talking about at the NFL level and that, none of you guys seem, I mean, obviously in your play you're very talented, and you would celebrate, but it seems like you're all very humble. Doesn't seem like a lot of flash. Is that a correct way with this
Absolutely.
Cougar team to describe you guys? Not necessarily flashy, but humble.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to be humble. You know, I feel like if we get too cocky and we get too flashy, you know, karma will come to us eventually. I mean, you see it with teams sometimes, you know, it'll come back to you, and, you know, people will tell you about it, you know, so it's better just to stay humble.
We've gone through at least 4 interviews already, and nobody's mentioned Tyler Wolfe yet as your quarterback. Talk about his development as a quarterback.
I mean, as a freshman, I mean, he's gained weight. He's gotten bigger. You know, his arm strength improved, and, you know, he became a better quarterback. And he's one of the reasons why I am, you know, playing at a high level, and why my teammates as well are playing at a high level. And it's also a reason why our football team has we have high expectations. He's also a all-conference quarterback as well, you know, very talented.
How much are you guys studying as well in that film room and that, along with, I mean, obviously there's the physical work that goes in. I forget who was talking about waking up at 5 and 6 a.m., that you guys are bringing the water out sometimes. There's a lot of responsibility with this. How much other work is going into looking at some of these teams?
You know, we're just, you know, we're looking at film on Pittston for week 1 already, and we're 2 weeks away. But, you know, we're excited, and, you know, we're doing everything we possibly could to prepare, because I feel like in years prior we didn't prepare as well as we should have. So we're doing everything we could to start off hot.
That's a big thing, because last year you started 0-2, and it kind of, I mean, season could have gone south soon after that, but you guys, you know, to your credit, you know, were able to bounce back with the week 3 win at Berwick. Absolutely. And you talk about that fast start too. That's got to be, that had to be on your mind first day you stepped in the weight room.
Absolutely. I mean, it has to be. So, I mean, we have to start out 1-0. I mean, I think in the past 14 years, Hazleton's only won their week 1 game once. So, you know, that's a big goal for us, is to start out 1-0. And we have to do everything we could and prepare just as well, you know, even better than last year.
What's the most Hazleton thing this football team does? Do you guys go somewhere like a restaurant? Is there
Yeah, we go to a couple of restaurants. We go to Jimmy's all the time.
That's very Hazleton, you know, thing to do. What's your Jimmy's order?
I usually get like 5 chili dogs and a cherry Coke, a couple cherry Cokes maybe.
But there's probably somebody that eats more than you. Mm-hmm. Who eats more than you?
The lineman, easily.
Yeah, easily?
What's the most? Yeah, what's the most?
Probably like 6 or 7, I would say.
What's the most Jimmy dogs you can eat, Dave? In your prime? Maybe
in
now's
my
your
prime?
I don't know.
No, 2 or 3. No, 3 on a good day.
I used to do 3, and I would do 2 with everything, 1 with ketchup and mustard, and then of course fries with cheese and gravy.
I'm out those 2 sometimes.
Yeah, it's so good. All right. Well, I feel like we've covered a lot. Connor, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure getting to talk to you and your teammates today. It's halftime on the Good Sports podcast and web series, and we just wanted to let you know we're brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Health Network. Hazleton area quarterback Tyler Wolfe joins us now, another senior on that leadership council. Tyler, how awesome is this time of year? I mean, I've never played football, but I mean, I could hear like the Friday Night Lights theme in the back of my mind right now. Like, is this such a special time of year? Just to what's it like for a football player at this time of year?
It's a lot of fun, honestly. I mean, just spending time with our guys, like throughout the summer, even in the winter, like we're with each other every single day, and you kind of have that sense of energy going into camp, knowing you got the pads on, maybe get to hit a little bit. I mean, they kind of keep me off with the hitting, but I mean, just watching our guys do what they love to do is so much fun.
The stats were so impressive for you, for a lot of your teammates last year. I mean, you had over 2,000 yards passing, 23 touchdowns. How do you guys improve? I know there's more there. People look and you say, okay, well, we didn't win that district championship. But personally, I mean, how do you improve your game as a quarterback going into your senior year? Or is it just staying consistent?
Staying consistent, definitely. I want to get that completion percentage up, definitely more. It was only at, I want to say, 69%, get over that 70% mark. And just staying calm throughout a game, and letting our guys do the work, just getting the ball out to them.
How hard is it playing the quarterback position? You put up those great numbers. I feel, Dave, sometimes, you know, we talk about us being Penn State fans. I hear so many fans yelling in the stands, like, how did he miss that guy? It was wide open. I'm like, well, there's not people chasing you. How much harder is it, do you think, than people realize?
It's definitely hard, but I mean, every position on the team or on the field is hard. Yeah. It's grueling. You put your time into it, and I mean, you have to definitely avoid the pressure. But doing that, you have to read the defense and get the ball out to our guys. I mean, you never know what's going to happen in a game, so you kind of just have to react to everything.
What's something you've been really proud of you've developed since your freshman year that you've really worked on and you feel you've gotten better at?
Definitely the weight room. Yep. I would say so. I mean, I was like 125 pounds freshman year. It was very scary, honestly. Yeah. It was scary to put on the pads and see guys like Kevin Molesky, Jason Beaver, Seth Hunsinger, and even these guys. I put my time in the weight room. I gained over 60 pounds since then and just got stronger, honestly, and it shows.
One of the questions on the team, if you're here outside the program, I'm sure inside the program there's a lot of confidence in your offensive line. Could you talk about their development and how they've come together looking forward to the season?
Yeah, they've been in the weight room too. They're a lot bigger and a lot faster and definitely stronger since last season. And they've definitely grown a lot of confidence from playing last season. So it's only just building confidence and keep working to get where we want to be.
We talked a lot about the success of last season, the great stats, all the success that all of you have had. This group, you guys seem so tight. What is it like when things aren't going your way? Because it seems like all great football teams, the Bamas, everybody goes through hard times, even in successful seasons. What do you guys like when things aren't going your way? Is this a good group to be in battle with?
Definitely. I mean, no difficult times aren't always fun. You have to have those certain leaders on your team, and you'll have to rally each other with you to make sure, obviously, everyone's doing their job and make the hard times a little bit easier. Yeah. And definitely do your job.
Tyler, is there a screamer? Are you a screamer type, or are you just like lead by example type, or is there a screamer on the team?
I'm definitely not a screamer, and I wouldn't lead. I mean, I wouldn't follow others. I'd rather have others follow me with my work ethic. I'd be the one to lead by example.
You mentioned bringing one goal you have, bringing completion percentage up. How do you work on that? How's that something that you improve upon, or is there a way? Just
reading defenses, studying a little more film, and in the film, understanding what the defense is giving you, and then in the games have that translate into it and succeed.
How much crazy stuff do you see in practice with this much of a talented team? I mean, with you, with your receivers and everything, I mean, I know you guys are serious in practice, but is there some cool stuff going on?
A lot of one-hand catches. Yeah. I know Coach doesn't always like it, but it's a lot of fun. It's fun. And you see some hitting too. Yeah. Today was our first day of pads, and you see guys like Xander Coleman light up some of our JV guys, and it was pretty funny to watch, but I definitely know I would not want to be that running back getting lit up.
Well, you mentioned, hey, it's almost, I'm going to say a rite of passage, but I mean, you were that guy, you weren't bulked up yet. You were, look out, I got to survive out there, and you can do it, everyone on the JV team. It can be done. Anything else for Tyler before we let him go?
No, Tyler, I'm looking forward to the season. We talked about a team getting a fast start after losing the first two last year, kind of right at the ship at Berwick last year, and you kind of went on from there. How important is it to get a good start this year?
Yeah, definitely get on that fast start and just ride with it. I mean, with those two losses last year, we're kind of sunk in a little hole, and we had to build each other up. We had to build everyone up to where once we won at Berwick, we knew the type of team we had then, and then we kind of just ride through there.
Well, Tyler, we thank you. You all stayed after, 2 days already over. You guys hung out a little later. So are you done for the day, or no, are you guys coming back?
No, we're done.
All right, cool. Well, we appreciate you hanging out extra time to talk with us. Thank you so much, and good luck this season.
Yeah, thank you.
Hazleton Area High School head football coach Dennis Bookman is with us right now. And Coach, we introduced all of the guys who are on the podcast today, members of your leadership council, senior leaders. Talk about that a little bit. Every time I read an article about the Cougars, it's almost mentioned about how important it is, not just being great football players, great people, helping out the community. These guys seem like they get it. And just talk about what that leadership council is and why it was created, what it does.
Sure. So we talked about this year. We had the discussion, in terms of obviously having so many returning players, so many veteran players, not only that were experienced on the field, but truly have taken some type of leadership role the last 2 years since we've been hired. So as you got to meet and talk to 6 of those 8 members, the other 2, John Valdez, Alex Pangrazzi, we had an evaluation of those guys, and it was kind of an all-encompassing in terms of off-season, what they've done during the season. We've done a ton of volunteer work throughout this off-season as well, so guys have been present for that. So it was a lot of merit-based things, the work that guys have also put in, and time and what they put into that time, and then obviously the product in which they put on the field, not only just by their production, but that positive leadership that they have each and every day when we're at practice here. It's something that I firmly believe in. We talk about, how important it is to be a servant leader. And, I talked to those guys, the conversation we had at the end of our defensive practice today is how important it is, if you're going to be a leader, to understand that, so to speak, you have to eat last and everybody else must come first. And with great expectations comes great responsibility, and those guys understand the expectations that are set forth for them, not only that outsiders have and others, but the expectations I have for them as well, and in terms of just being really, really good people. And with that leadership council, we'll rotate each week. We'll pick captains out of that is kind of on an evaluation base for that, and we'll make that a big deal each Thursday after our walkthrough, and be able to have those guys lead the team out, so to speak, each week for us. We decided on 8 as well, because we have 8 stretch lines, so it's nice they all can be able to certainly be able to lead us in our stretches, pre-practice and pre-game as well.
Excellent.
You talk about leadership too, and you hear about born leaders. In your opinion, is a leader born, or is that something that has to be coached?
I think some of those guys do have leadership qualities that they certainly either are born with or inherit. But I feel like that's my job as a coach, and our job as coaches, to make sure that these guys understand what it takes to be a leader. Sometimes it's a lonely feeling being a leader. It's not always you can't just want to be a leader Friday night. If you're going to be a true leader, in my opinion, you can't be scared to do the dirty work and some of the non-glamorous things too, such as times when I'm here cleaning the stadium or picking up something after someone else, whatever the case may be. So I think there's qualities that certainly we have to teach our guys as well, and they translate. We talk about all the time, as leadership, as adversity, all those things, being able to overcome those things. In my opinion, the game of football, it runs parallel with life in a lot of ways. So certainly, for these guys to be successful and be as successful as they've been on the field and in the school community and in the community as a whole, they definitely have to have some of those leadership qualities that I believe they've gained through our program.
Dave, I'm going to go out of order in our podcast. We always do a good sports moment, something that we see that really sticks out to us. Mine was, and I've had the pleasure of interviewing Matias Casadas a bunch of times. I mean, talk about a humble young man, just a great young man to talk to. But here he is, and he's an all-state football player. He has a state silver medal in track and field. He's an outstanding basketball player. And he's just nonchalantly talking about grabbing water for everyone else on the team during practice as this, senior leader guy and one of the superstars. That's my good sports moment. And my point is, with all of this, Dave, we've talked with championship athletes on this podcast at the high school level. We've talked with Penn State players who've won Big Ten championships, and they would say, the big difference on our championship teams were we were close, we were good, we cared about each other. That was the difference. They didn't say, we limited this. I'm sure there was some on the field stuff too, but a lot of it really was how much they cared about each other and how close they were as a team. Is that very important, or is that just something I've created in my head? I mean, I'm sure it's important, but can it be a difference maker like that?
Oh, it absolutely can. I mean, once again, you go back to that servant leadership, and I think, too many times guys just assume, if we're grabbing something, for example, as a shield or something like that, too many times you hear in a lot of programs, young guys, go over, grab the shields, all that. I get that, because there is some, sweat equity in that too, and, you pay your due, so to speak, but I talk to these guys all the time. it should be those older guys doing those things, and they do a great job of buying in. Matt Casadas, as you mentioned, every one of those guys you spoke to today, and the big thing too is, it has that trickle down effect, so to speak, and we talk about it too. Just because you're not a member of the leadership council doesn't mean that you can't do those things, and you can't lead in a variety of ways as well. So as you know, I feel leadership comes from the top down, and that really then starts to translate, and those guys, even those younger guys, start to see, and they buy in, and that's when you really have something that kind of clicks, and you have a good product. And I feel like because of these seniors now, I mean, think about this senior class when you talk about obviously their freshman year, the season they had. Their sophomore year was the COVID year, so you talk about how we had to be locked in, and the sacrifices we had to make, and a team in a district of our size, we didn't have one shutdown because of our program, which is absolutely incredible when you think about that, and the guys that they were able to emulate. When we got hired here, I mean, their sophomore year, they had Kevin Mlosky, they had Jason Beaver, Kellen Warner, Jimmy Bugda. I mean, what a class to be able to take you through those difficult times of that COVID season. In terms of the outside thing, it made it business as usual for us here, though. It was nothing for us to say, hey, those first 2 weeks you couldn't touch a football, we had to be in pods. For those guys, it was nothing because of that leadership, and these guys have been able to see what that looks like, and they've done nothing but continue to grow in that role. And that's when you see those good sports moments, as you're talking about. You see that selflessness from our players, making sure that they're putting others before them.
So much talent on the field, so much hype around this team as well. Has it been different or no for you guys? Is it just Cougar football, this is what we expect, or is there a little bit different of an atmosphere this preseason? What has this preseason been like so far?
In terms of internally, it's the same thing. I tell these guys all the time, I have high expectations for them. My expectations for them don't change. The standard is the standard, and we'll always be approaching, never arriving, because we'll continue to climb. But certainly, I mean, it's different in the aspect that there's been a ton of media here that hasn't been around Harmon Geist in quite a while. So I mean, from that perspective, the kids hear things from outside, but I quickly remind them that sure, there's high expectations, but when you play the schedule we do, when you have a really good Pittston team that when we were at media day everybody's really high on, you make that trip to Wallenpaupack, you come back here and play a 10-win North Pocono team from last year, and Wilkes-Barre then the following week, and then you turn around and you look at that second half and you get Crestwood, Valley West, Williamsport, Berwick, Dallas. I mean, we have no time to feel good about ourselves.
You get humbled very fast.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look 1 through 10, and I've said this from the beginning to everybody, you look at District 2 football as a whole, in the Wyoming Valley Conference and the Lackawanna League this year, it's a really good brand of football. There's a lot of really good football teams. The preseason state rankings came out. There's District 2 football teams ranked throughout the state. And there's a lot of quality teams this year. So as you said, we have no time to listen to the outside noise. It is nice, for the kids to be rewarded for their hard work, because I mean, this has been a process, and certainly this has been a journey and a climb, and we've expedited the process in some ways. But there's levels to this, and we understand we haven't arrived, and we have a long way to go here, and we certainly can get better, not only throughout this week, next week, and our goal is, like last year, to get better each week during the season, be playing our best football towards the end of the year.
Dave and Coach, my question really is, and with that said, you have to go on the field, you have to win the games, but as a fan of, you love Hazelton area football so much. Dave, you've been covering sports in this area for a while. This offense seems so dynamic. Is this, I mean, obviously, the talent level in this Cougar football program, is this one-of-a-kind team? I mean, has this been something special to watch?
I think it's a special group because it's a group of special people, first of all, which makes it, really fun to be around. In terms of one-of-a-kind, there's been a lot of really good offenses, good teams, that have come.
You played on one of them.
Yeah, you were there. You saw it. So you have some perspective there.
Absolutely, but here's the thing. It's getting everybody to buy into their job. job.
Yeah.
Being one of 11, I heard before when you were asking Connor Shimane with him and Matt Casadas, and once again the word selfless. For these guys to understand, okay, my route in this concept here may not get me open, but it's going to get my brother open on this play. Having those receivers buy into being able to stock block on the edge to free the backs for big plays. Getting those guys up front to understand that, there are not always going to be loved up in terms of the light shining bright on them, but they certainly know that I'm their biggest fan, and this football team doesn't go without those guys and the vast improvement, marked improvement that those guys have made this offseason.
Leading that offense this year will be Tyler Wolfe. Talk about his development as a quarterback from when he first came into the program to now.
Our offense doesn't go without Tyler Wolfe. Not only what he does physically, but what he does mentally as well is really special. We ask our quarterback, you talk about our offense, we ask our quarterback to do a lot of things that I feel a lot of high school offenses don't do, in terms of the tags that we have in our zone game, the tags that we have in our gap scheme runs, the RPOs that we have attached, being able to make not only first level but secondary and third level reads that we have in our pass game. That's what allows us to be successful. So that's a lot on a quarterback, a typical quarterback, but not a guy like Tyler Wolfe. First one to arrive, last one to leave every single day. He's constantly locked in. We're always watching film. Him and I have a tremendous relationship. On the board, he carries around a black notebook that he has with him all the time, constantly writing things down. When you have somebody like that leading your program, you're always in really good hands. And then obviously you talk about the rest of those skill guys who complement each other so well, and the guys up front. It makes it for certainly a very unique dynamic that you don't see a lot in terms of the talent level that we have at quarterback. And I feel when Tyler Wolfe is done with his career, and we talk about the program history here, I feel like he's going to be right up there and mentioned with the Sparky Wolks of the world and other really good quarterbacks that we've seen throughout the last 30 plus years in this program.
Dave, I don't mean to have two good sports moments, and I'm sorry if I stole another one, but I want to ask Coach about this. Samuel Poro, and we talked with him, and he talked about working his way to be a starter and realizing I had to put the work in. He said, I would tell my freshman self, come to practice more often or do this, and he said he was very proud of how he was able to work into his starting role, work into the leadership council. A player like him seems like a great example for the kids below him.
For Sam, he's a guy, a testament to himself, that he was able to do that and understand the responsibility he had, the potential he had, and it makes it really special because it allows you to know that you have something good going on in your program too, that guys like that believe in what we're doing here. And certainly Sam Poro, he's turned into, him and John Valdez right now are our two most polished linemen that we have. And when you look at Sam from a freshman to now, the steps that he's taken are absolutely incredible. So it just goes back to being able to work hard and our three pillars we talk about: trust, love, and commitment. Being able to trust those around you and in what we're teaching and what everybody's doing, loving those around you because they go hand in hand. And if you stay committed to the process as well, as cliche as that is, but there is a process to this. If you stay committed to that, you see the fruits of your labor, so to speak. And now we have Samuel Poro, who's our starting right guard. This is a kid who didn't start playing football until his freshman year. Starting right guard is a positionless football player, can play tackle and play center for us. And then he slide over to the other side, he can play defensive tackle and stud end. So you talk about a kid who just 3 years ago didn't really know anything about football, and now he's playing multiple positions up front on both sides of the ball. It's truly remarkable that Sam Poro is able to do this, and obviously he had the support of his teammates, our staff, and this program behind him throughout as well.
With all the attention, Dennis, on the offense, and rightfully so this year too, can we talk a little bit about the defense? And you definitely have to step up on that.
I was just going to talk about that. I mean, in terms of, that was the number one goal when we were hired, and I feel like we did that. I mean, we gave up around 17 points per game last year. We had a shutout, the first shutout in almost 10 years here 2 years ago. Our defense traveled last year. We won a Wyoming Valley Conference Championship because of our defense in that rain at Williamsport in week 10. We want to win a district title. That's certainly something that's that's in our sights there. We have to be able to play defense, and in my opinion, at any level of football, especially in high school, and when you're playing on the road and you're playing on the road as much as we are in the first half for the first 5, your defense has to travel, because a ton of adverse situations are going to happen offensively and in the kicking game, whether that's a turnover, whether that's giving up a big play in that kicking game, whatever the case may be. Where do you look to all the time? You look to your defense to answer. We turn the football over, our defense has to make a stop. We give up a big play in the kicking game, our defense has to be able to bail us out of things. So certainly I feel these last 2 years we've made marked improvement defensively. We've definitely, anybody who's come to see our football games, they know the Hazleton area Cougars are a lot more physical. They buy in. We talk about on the defensive side as well. A defensive player's commitment to his teammates is where he is when the whistle blows. You go back and you watch games that we played the last 2 years, and you watch us this year. When the whistle blows and the play is over, we better have 11 hats either to the football, and if not, they're taking their proper pursuit angles as well to make sure they're putting themselves in an advantageous position.
Yeah, it's interesting when you mentioned the beginning of that schedule. Dave, I read your article recently on this Cougar team as well, with that beginning of the schedule with so many road games. I remember talking with the guys before the district playoffs started last year, and they smiled, a lot of your defensive guys, and they said those words. They said road warriors. We pride ourselves on that.
Only second time in program history last year we were undefeated in the regular season on the road. We went 5-0. There's only second time in 30 years this program has been undefeated. And you look at the places we had to play on the road last year in terms of playing at Crispin Field, which is an incredibly tough place to play. Having to come back and beat Dallas when we were down 21-6 with a little over 6 minutes left, which is a really difficult place to play. Going to Williamsport in that rain and winning a conference championship. So the list goes on and on there. So when you talk about being able to travel, we relish that a little bit, and our guys buy into that because, we talk about when we're on the road, we're all we have here, so to speak, in terms of, us and those people who come to support us, and frankly, we're all we need. As long as we stay together and we buy into each other and we trust, love, and commit, and the kids get excited. So, it's certainly going to be a really tough stretch here being on the road for the first 5, but I can't think of a better group to be able to go into each competition and do that with.
You talked a little bit about the kicking game too, and you lost a key component, a kind of like an unsung hero in Luke Russo too. How do you replace him?
Yeah, absolutely. He was unsung to everybody but me because the value in terms of what Luke Russo has done, I think he's one of the best in program history when you talk about just the dynamics that he provided in the kicking game for us. And everybody saw the strong leg he had in terms of, the field goals and things like that, which was great. How about the field position he gave our defense, being able to, work kickoffs, punt. He bailed our offense out at times. There was some type of comfort when you knew you were in the -10. You knew you had Luke Russo to be able to punt the football, flip the field, and now the opposite team's playing from their -35. So certainly without a doubt, having Luke Russo was a tremendous weapon. I told him last year I believe he was the X factor of that conference championship team in everything that he did and all of the variety of things that he can do as well. We were able to turn the momentum of the regular season game against Wilkes-Barre. We had a big score, immediately had a squib kick, got the football back off the squib, scored again, and put that game out of reach. So we have some guys working in the specials game. I feel we work our specials just as hard. For us, it's not the third phase or the other phase. It's truly the phase where we can change momentum in football games here. So we have John Valdez right now who's working as our place kicker along with Xander Coleman. Xander's been taking over the punting duties as well. We have a variety of guys who can do different things on kickoffs that will bring in depending on what we're looking to do in that aspect of the kicking game there. But it's certainly the point is there, Luke Russo, he's a heck of a player because it hasn't been a one-man job like it's been the last 2 years, and he's somebody, along with that entire senior group, is going to be really, really missed.
Well, Coach, I don't have anything else. I thank you so much. I don't know if Dave has anything else, but we appreciate all the time from you. Your senior leadership council here as well. I had a ball at Harmon Geist. I feel the hype. I appreciate you having us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I mean, I would say we hope that people come out. They support our team. I'm telling everybody I see here, we're on the road week 1, August 26th. Typically week 1's, the weather's beautiful. What's anybody else doing on a Friday night? Let's come up, support our Hazelton area Cougars. Let's pack Pittston Stadium in Yatesville, and it's going to be a heck of a week 1 contest.
Dave, I think excited and humble, those are the two words that come to my mind after we talked with a lot of the players, after we talked with head coach Dennis Bookman. One thing that he really said that stood out to me, Dave, was that, listen, you don't want to get, too high and be overly hyped, but at the same time, these kids, they've worked for this. They've built up this excitement. They've put in this hard work. Connor Shimane just didn't walk out on the field and become an all-star, Matias Casadas. They've put in this work to get this much hype that they're receiving right now, but they do have to go out there and play and win some football games.
And I think a reason why they do have all those expectations put on them is because of their selfless attitude. I think that's what the key to this whole season is. They generally aren't concerned about who gets the most yardage or who scores the winning touchdown. These kids are generally playing for one another. They hold each other accountable to make that happen too. And and it seems like they all have that extra step in their game, and I don't mean that from a speed standpoint or ability to catch the football or make a tackle or whatever. It's just that extra want to. They want to do well. They don't want to disappoint their teammates, their brothers they call them, and I think that's such a big thing too. And you don't often see that, but as we've done a lot of teams through the years, a lot of successful teams, that success comes from their ability to have chemistry, camaraderie, call it what you want, and they get along with one another, not afraid to call each other out, but not publicly. They do it in the private, and again, they don't want to disappoint their teammates. They're here to have success, but they want to have success for one another, for their teammates, and for the community. It shows like they want to make a name for themselves, but they want to do it for the right reasons too.
Dave, I already did my good sports moments. I had 2 of them that I talked about with head coach Dennis Bookman when we were doing that interview. How about for you? Do you have a good sports moment for this podcast?
I'm going to go right at the top with Dennis Bookman. I mean, he has fostered an attitude here where these players are selfless and they are giving of one another too, and developing a leadership council. And it's not just Dennis; it's his staff too that does a good job. But they foster that family attitude too, and that's tough to beat. You have some talented players and you have a commitment to winning, but you do it in a team first manner. I think that spells nothing but success for the Cougars.
Loves this team, loves this program, head coach Bookman. I'll tell you what, Dave, we were here for a little bit, and he went through a schedule, how busy he is, going to youth football games in the area, 2-a-days here at the stadium. He's got a family at home. He was sitting here talking football with us for almost 45 minutes, just so excited off camera to get this season going. Any closing thoughts on Hazelton area or anything else before we wrap it up?
No, it's another team we're looking forward to season. I mean, if somebody who covers Hazelton area sports like we do, you always want to see a Hazelton area team do well just for the excitement level, because it makes our jobs a lot easier, because who wants to write about a team that isn't doing as well? When a team's winning and they're as good young men as these people are, it makes our job so much better.
Yeah, so get out there week 1, Pittston area. Coach was making the call before they get home here to Harmon Geist Memorial Field. Get out to see them on the road. You know who a lot of the team and Coach Dennis Bookman was a big fan of? They mentioned several times Steve Stallone, who works with Dave Seaman at the Standard Speaker. They really enjoy him covering their football games, and he'll have you covered all season long with Hazelton area, as well as Dave and the Standard Speaker with all of our local football teams. Dave, it's going to be a fantastic season. Make sure you're reading there and checking them out on standardspeaker.com. Until next time, take it easy, everyone, and be a good sport. The Good Sports podcast and web series is brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Health Network. Thanks for joining us.